And good morning to everyone. Good to see you. Hope you're well. And in today's video, we're doing an FPL preview for game week number 10. That's right. Obviously, last week we had a stinker. We don't want to dwell on it too much. Not captaining Salah was the crumble of my team, the downfall of my team, and picking Smith Rowe over Saka was also the downfall, and also benching Antonio against Tottenham. I should have known. He always scores v Spurs, but I just had such good fixtures for my defence. That's why we played 5 at the back, and that's why we didn't get the points. But it is what it is. I think we played 4 at the back, actually, but we'll show you what we did. And obviously our rank has suffered. No exaggeration. This is like my worst ever rank drop of a game week. So we've got a lot to prove, basically. We've got to learn the lessons, put it into practice, and perform much better under pressure in game week number 10. But if you do go on to enjoy my team selection video and my captaincies for game week 10, do give a like on it and let me know what are your transfers for this upcoming game week 10. Lock in your teams. Of course, it is the 11 o'clock deadline on Saturday. So let's get into what I did in game week 9. And I don't really want to talk about it, but it was a shambles. It was an absolute shambles. So a few surprises going in there. Martinez, 10-pointer. I didn't own him, but I owned Ramsdale, and I was gutted that Ramsdale lost his clean sheet in the last minute of that game. And I was thinking, how is this going to be possible? He's going to get less points than someone who's actually going to get a clean sheet, Ramsdale, because I thought Ramsdale would get the easy 3-0 win, and Martinez obviously did concede 3, but he saved that penalty that Aubameyang eventually converted after the original save. So I was like, this is unfortunate. And yeah, 10 points for Martinez despite conceding 3. You think, fair enough. Reece James, I'm a bit gutted about him because, fair enough, those people that have him, they were patient with him, and I kind of just went down a different route. Game week 7 when I wild carded, I brought in Azpilicueta. He did bits for me, to be fair, that week. But Azpilicueta didn't play this week, which was a bit of a blow, I'm not going to lie. But we did see a lot of depth in our bench, and that's what the bench is for. So Tony comes in, but I'm just so gutted that it wasn't Antonio first on bench. I just thought, against Leicester, Tony will definitely do something. Leicester have been so leaky, whereas in the West Ham Spurs game, I thought that would be full of goals, but only for one team. And I was very wrong. It was a tight game. It turns out the goals were flowing at Old Trafford, where I thought there would be some for Salah, but did not expect a hat-trick, and therefore captained Harry Kane as part of my -4 hit. And look, -4 hits are all right. They sometimes work. They sometimes ask too much of the people you're bringing in for it to work and for it to be justified. And you can kind of say in the weeks where you make a -4 hit and you don't play that player, you say, oh, why would you do that? But you've got to think FPL is a long-term game. It is a marathon, not a sprint. So you've got to make your team better, basically, for the upcoming weeks. But obviously, yeah, it's not ideal when you're doing -4s and they're not always that effective for future matches. So, yeah, I was pretty gutted about that, to be fair, from Azpilicueta, but it is what it is. Cresswell, he's not been exactly lighting it up, but fair enough. He had a very good game week, this last one against Tottenham. He's on corners, so you just know there's always that ability to get attacking returns. Chilwell, now this one, fair play, because he's on an amazing goal-scoring run. I don't own him, and I kind of thought this was one of the transfers I was, thinking about. Do I just go Azpilicueta to Chilwell? But it could be a bit sideways, and I'm like, do I really want to do that when I know that Azpilicueta is a solid pick in itself? Not really, but I get why loads of people are buying Chilwell. He is the best Chelsea attacking option in defence. He's maybe not the most nailed, as Rudiger is, but Alonso could always come back in. Tuchel could wake up one day and say, I'm going to play Alonso, and not care about the fact that Chilwell's been amazing recently. But yeah, if you are confident and you've got a good bench, then Chilwell is certainly up there for the best transfers in this game week. And another man who a lot of people are talking about, and actually the most transferred in for game week 10, is Mason Mount. Now, I think this is a trap. I think it's knee-jerky. Of course it's Norwich, right? They're going to be in defensive problems. And Mason Mount doesn't get big hauls. We've seen it in previous game weeks. He does really just keep quiet. He ticks along, but maybe gets a 1 assist from like a corner or something. But he's not a prolific FPL option. And that's a shame, because he is a good value at 7.4 million. I think he's now up to 7.5. But he did get a hat-trick in that game. You know, fair play for people that went with him over Kai Havertz, which wasn't many. A lot of people captained Havertz, and they felt the pain of that this game week. But will they do it again in game week 10? Well, you'd be a very unwise person to not captain Salah this week as well. So, I don't know. But ultimately, Mount's 24 points, hat-trick. It is Norwich City. We've got to remember that. And he's not going to play that forward in every single game for Chelsea, when especially Havertz plays a more forward role. And I get that Lukaku and Werner are still out injured, but they're going to be back soon. Like, it's not going to be a long-term, really good pick. So just be cautious. I'm not saying it's a bad transfer, but I'm just saying you could spend money better, especially with the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool in midfield looking really strong at the minute. Now, talking of Liverpool's midfield, Salah is... I know, I'll say this again and again, and you can say what you like, all right? You make your FPL team. It's up to you. That's the beauty of FPL. Play your own game. Don't get influenced. But honestly, if you're not playing with Mohamed Salah, you are playing it wrong. There's just no other way of saying it. If you don't have him, you're playing it wrong. If you don't captain him some weeks where you think there's a better captaincy option, then fair enough. That's up for your kind of judgment. But Salah has to be owned. And how there's about 30% of the game, he's currently owned by 69.9%. How there's 30% of the game that don't own him is honestly baffling. And I think I saw a stat that someone in the top, like, 200k or something, or the top 200, I don't know, quite near the top, you know, rankings, didn't own him. And it's like, how have you actually done that well in points without this guy? So just own him. Like, I don't want to say perma-captain him, because it's quite boring to say that, you know, to have him every single game week. You're kind of ruling out any other captaincy options. But, you know, we've seen it in the past. People who just literally had an unactive team, they've left their team, and they've always had it on Salah. They've not done that badly. But, look, you got to think there's other fixtures that could change. But for now, Salah is in the form of his career, the form of his life, and number one in the world, the whole world of football right now, based on form. So it's pretty hard to bet against him, basically. Even against teams like Manchester United, he can rip them to shreds in the first half of a game and get a hat-trick. But Phil Foden, he's one of the town that's getting a lot of attention, a bit like Mason Mount and Chilwell. Look, Foden is a good option, we know this, but is it the Pep Roulette that's going to strike again? I hope for those Foden owners that it's not going to be, because he has been pretty nailed, and when he's played, he's been brilliant. He is a bit expensive for some people, 8.2 million, but he's just looking so good. So with the Man City fixture turn, it's definitely a good shout, but it's just whether you think he's worth it. Now, Cornet, also looking very promising as a differential, 6 million. So watch out for him. He's going to be decent in the upcoming fixtures for Burnley. And 2 goals against Southampton. I think he can really do well. Naby Keita, I'm not expecting him to be a long-term good option. That was just where Liverpool got in behind easily, and, you know, Man United were just cut open from minute one, really. Joshua King, my guy, what a beast. Like, this guy, he is a proper striker. He's a proper number 9. Exactly what we've needed for years. And what a performance. 16-pointer, hat-trick against his old club. He proves Everton wrong for not, you know, playing him and starting him in the Premier League last season. And look, it's just absolute dreams. The second goal, can I just say, was just genius. The way he just completely dumbfounded Michael Keane, and just so cool to just stroke it past Pickford. And then the third goal, like, that is just also brilliant, because it's very easy for you to think, oh yeah, there's no way that's going to be like, it's going to be disallowed. What I mean by that is Joshua King, there's no way he's scoring that, but he finds a way, and it's really clever. Like, the build-up from Watford is just, he takes one touch and then he just strokes it. And that, I think, might have been the second goal, not the third, but you kind of see it the other way around. The point is, what a game, what a striker, and look, he's an option for this game week, but I wouldn't be bringing him in now. I think a lot of people have done, just off that game, just off that hat-trick. It's got to be one for the future, because our fixtures are just awful. But after Southampton, it is a tough run, and maybe you want to hold him, but I just think he's too good to not play at the minute. But anyway, moving on. Emmanuel Dennis, look, this guy, he's been class this season. Said it from day one. When we signed him from Club Brugge, I was really excited by it. He did a lot of good things there, and, he's been Dennis the Menace. He's just got points. And it is a bit of a menace that he's gone and got himself suspended for the Southampton game, 5 yellow cards, but he still is one to watch on. So that is basically everything from Game Week 9 in terms of the kings of the Game Week, Joshua King included. And this was my absolute joke of a Game Week 9 that I just don't really want to talk about much more because I just got so unlucky. Like Ramsdale, how is he not keeping a clean sheet? Cancelo, wipe out the clean sheet in the last minute. Livramento, all right, absolute legend. He comes in for this fixture and does well in this one. Rudiger, legend. Trent, legend. Salah, legend. Antonio is also a legend, but he does it in the wrong week when I don't back him. Rafinha, just so frustrating. Like, he just gets injured again. He's just so unlucky. And then Saka and Gallagher, I'm not happy with you two. So let's move on to that dreaded Game Week 10. I'm hoping it's not dreaded, but it will be a spooky game week. Of course, the weekend of Halloween. Can we cause a bit of magic? A bit of, FPL, spook for every other manager. I'm going to bewilder them with how good this game week will go. Because look at my rank, right? 866,782. That is not what we can do. We know this. It was a big blip last game week to go from whatever we were, 454k, and drop by about 411k or something like that. The point is, it's a new start. It's a fresh game week, and it's going to be much, much better. So, in Game Week 10, we've got the following lineup. Yes, people, we're going to show the team straight away. We're not messing about. And Backman and Robin is locked and loaded for Game Week 10. So, I am called Backman and Robin from the start of the season, but I don't own Backman anymore. Instead, it's got to be done. Ben Foster, 4 million. What an option. Now, the cycling GK, I'll admit, has not been ideal. He's not kept any clean sheets this season. His own FPL team actually has been a bit of a nightmare. He's been bringing people like Salomon Rondon and, getting rid of Salah for 1 week and getting in Stuart Dallas, who's no longer an FPL option. He's had a bit of a stinker on his own FPL team, but he still does well for Watford off and on the pitch. He's a great guy, great career and a great YouTube channel, and I still think he will do something in this game. Now, I know you're going to say, what? He's not got a clean sheet all season. Of course, that's the case, but Southampton are one of those teams around us. That's going to be nervy. Obviously, Armstrong might not start because he's just not been playing recently. I could see them playing Redmond and Che Adams as a front two. And then, of course, you see last season that Armstrong gets a penalty saved by Foster in that Blackburn game against Watford. So, look, Foster is, a solid pick. Certainly for the fixture, I'm backing him this week because I think it's only a matter of time, hopefully, before we can get that first clean sheet. And he's still such a good, cheap option. Like, I know the fixtures are bad, but to have a playing goalie at the minute, it just seems like Ranieri trusts in Foster, and Backman has just been out of the team, whether that's been injuries or a lack of confidence. Foster is your man. And look, there could be the occasion that Backman comes in for this Southampton game. So what? We don't care. That will mean that the legend, that is Aaron Ramsdale, comes in. But let's move on to the defence. And nothing else changes here, just like the goalkeeper situation, we're all the same. Trent, Cancelo, Rudiger, Azpilicueta. Now this is what I'm pretty happy with. This is what I think is my best part of my team. My defence is solid. Trent, he's just Trent at the end of the day. You got to own him. He is so good from set pieces, and yeah, he's going to get points. There's just no other way around it, really. Brighton, obviously, yeah, defensively, they're not the worst team, but you could argue Trent can do it against anyone with those set pieces. So I'm hoping for another haul of returns, some more assists like he did against Manchester United and set up Jota really nicely. Let's see if he can do it in this game on Saturday. Cancelo, this is an interesting one. Now, Zinchenko has been confirmed back fit, but I think Cancelo has just been playing so well that surely his role is not threatened. Like, let's say Zinchenko comes in at left back, then Cancelo could move to right back, because I think Cancelo surely comes above someone like Kyle Walker in the team. I don't know, but I think he's still a great player to own. Still a great asset. And look, he could get benched. The Pep roulette is awful, but I'm just not, going to risk it. I'm still going to think if he plays, he's going to get points. And if he not, we've got a very strong bench to help us out. And Palace, obviously, they have been doing quite well under Vieira, but they're struggling to hold on to leads. Cancelo loves to cross in, and, Palace, they are conceding goals, and I think Man City can have a hefty win in this match, even if, Cancelo doesn't always get forward. He hopefully will get a clean sheet with, Benteke. Okay, he's been in good form, and so Edouard's is a good, striker to go up against those City centre backs. But I just think Man City, they're the best defence, if not one of them, in the league. So you got to back them for a clean sheet, hopefully. And now Rudiger, this one is a good one, isn't it? Because he is the most nailed Chelsea defender. The Tuchel tombola every single week is just as bad as the Pep roulette, and Rudiger is the most nailed. Like, he's going to play. We know this. He's got a bit of threat from set pieces. Hasn't scored, though, since that Tottenham fixture when we didn't own him, unfortunately. But hopefully he will back up that assist he got last weekend by winning the penalty with a cheeky little set-piece goal. Newcastle do struggle to keep those goals out at the minute. And obviously the takeover's not quite had its full effect yet. They still haven't got a manager. They need to sort that out. So this could be a chance for Rudiger to get some juicy points. And Azpilicueta, look, he's a bit more differential, but he is a very good Chelsea asset. I know you can say Chilwell's better. You could also say Reece James is better. I appreciate they're both very good. And I think Alonso as well is still in the conversation, but obviously there's only a matter of time before he comes back in. But Chilwell looks the better one at the minute. I just think Azpilicueta still does look like he's going to start. He's a big leader in that team. He can play it centre back, play it right back. He's very versatile, and obviously did miss the last game week due to, I don't know, being rested, I suppose, because Reece James did actually go in ahead of him, and maybe he had an injury. I'm not quite sure, but the point is, I'm hoping Reece James doesn't elbow Azpilicueta out of the team. I think he can still play in that team, and if so, get those crosses in. And I guess it's a bit of a shame that there's no fit striker at Chelsea right now, other than maybe Kai Havertz, because Azpilicueta is so good at crossing those balls in for strike partners to head. You saw it with Lukaku, you saw it with Morata, and now there's not much, service for the strikers to pounce on if Azpilicueta is doing all the work on himself. And Mount is not going to be predatory instinct every single week, whipping in those and collecting those crosses and finishing them. So I'm worried about that front, but I still think the double up for Chelsea, they're such a strong defence. I could see a clean sheet, but I could also see, no clean sheet, because Callum Wilson's in really good form at the minute. But at the end of the day, even if they both have a clean sheet wipeout, we've got the attacking potential, so hopefully that comes to rescue us. Now, this is where we have a bit of change, as you might have noticed. Rafinha is still there because I was actually going to transfer him out this game week, but now with the news that he will be fit, the yellow flag on him should be gone by now. But the point is, Marcelo Bielsa, he's very often clear with his Leeds advice. This last few days he's not been, and it's been a bit of a hard one to kind of decipher. But it is now news that Rafinha should be fine to play. Look, he's not been delivering as much as we want. He's still good value, and he's only got 3 goals, right, this season, which is not enough for our liking, because he does have that kind of frustrating side to his game. He looks good on the eye, but it never quite materialises into many returns. But the fixture, you got to back it. Like, it's Norwich, they're awful, and okay, the fixtures aren't great after that, I'll admit, but Brighton, Palace, Brentford could get something there, and then we'd probably bin him off game week 16. The point is, you got to kind of just hold him for the Norwich match. That could be a kind of Ismail Assar sort of thing, where he has a massive haul and then maybe blanks a few after that, but it's worth it for that one game week. So yeah, he's still a good asset, and I think we have to keep him based on the fact that although Leeds aren't scoring many goals as they used to, Rafinha is still so good in himself, and I think he could do a lot of the damage if someone like Rodrigo or Daniel James is not firing. Rafinha can pick up the scraps hopefully and get Leeds a few goals against the very hapless defence of Norwich City. Now, as you can see there, Bernardo Silva is in, and the reason for this, my friends, is because I just need that Man City attack. Like, I'm not going to lie, Man City are looking unbelievable, just as Chelsea are, but they haven't really got much of an attack at the minute without Lukaku, and it was Norwich. We've got to remember that. But with Palace, obviously that's not the best of fixtures, because Palace on their day can be just as good, but I still think they're leaking goals, and I think Man City's attacking, they are amazing because they don't need a striker, but they still score goals all over the pitch. Now, this was the problem I experienced when I brought in Jack Grealish game week 3 for that Arsenal fixture. They can score 6 goals, but you think, or 5 goals, whatever it was, will you actually get the contributions that you're satisfied with? And I only got an assist in that game. And then, of course, we saw the week after that, Grealish blank, and you kind of think, brilliant. He blanks again, brilliant, and he blanks again. And it's like, that was just a joke. So I don't want to have the same Man City curse on Bernardo Silva, but it's a bit of a differential. I think it's one we should be thinking about because he actually has been quite nailed for this Man City team. 11-pointer in game week number 8. That was impressive. Another assist at the weekend against Brighton. And he's playing 90 minutes in all these games. The only game week he didn't play at least 70 minutes was against Arsenal, but he still managed to get an assist in that one. So it's really impressive stuff. And yeah, all right, the Man City fixtures aren't amazing, but Palace, Man United, Everton, right? Palace, as I mentioned, they're not the best defence. Man United, look, they look a mess right now, so that could easily be a Man City drubbing like the Liverpool game. And then Everton, they're also looking quite defensively poor. West Ham, it's Man City at home, you'd favour it. And Villa away, they're looking quite defensively bad. And then it's a lovely stretch between game 15 and 18 for those Man City fixtures. So, look, at the end of the day, not many fixtures are bad for Man City, but Bernardo Silva just looked in really good vein of form. And, you know, my Portuguese buyers had to come in here. He's just looking really nice. And for that price of 7 million, I know that it's not Phil Foden. That would be the ideal transfer, but I just didn't have the money for it. So Bernardo Silva, I hope you'd still play. I hope it's not too much for a risk. But I think 2 Man City assets is probably fair enough. 3 might have been too much of a gamble. But let's just see if Joao and Bernardo can, of course, start at the weekend. Then we got the man that doesn't really need much explanation, just Captain Salah. He is amazing. And I've really felt the burn of it last game week for not captaining this Egyptian king. Look at the returns, man. It is actually freaky. It's actually a freak of nature. And I don't know how Burnley managed to actually keep him out in game week 2. But anyway, the point is, he is unbelievable. Playing at the top of his game. And I know it's Brighton, but just captain him. There's not a lot to it. Brighton, look, they're not the best defence at times, but they also have been improving recently. And I think that Liverpool, they did lose to them last season at Anfield, but I just think that was a blip. I think Liverpool will keep on scoring goals. They're in the rhythm of it, and look, they did get the win in the Carabao Cup, but of course that was just a rested team, a rotated team. Liverpool can go again. They've got such a good unit, so many players that can replace each other, and really, they're just a winning machine. So I think Salah, he's going to get more points. He's going to be that captain maestro. Then Antonio. Now this guy is still popping about in my team because he's just one of the best forward options. And I think a lot of people have lost patience with him. They've sold him maybe for a cheaper striker. Look, he scored last week. I get that it wasn't in my team because he was benched. But we're not going to bench him. We're not going to make the same mistake of not captaining Salah, hence he's on the captaincy, and not playing Antonio, hence he's starting. And he's going to start pretty much any more game weeks that I own Mikhail, because he is West Ham's number 1 man. I know the fixtures aren't great for the forward, but look, he does just pop up with that winning moment for West Ham. I don't know how his hamstrings are still going, but we'll take it. Like, as long as it can last, he can still score in these games. That's the thing. I remember last season he scored against Man City and I took him out. And look, just don't doubt him. He's class. His celebrations are class. His goals are class. Just back Mikhail. He is just an FPL legend etched in history. And he actually got a really good record against Liverpool. So that's at London Stadium. I'm not even that worried about that fixture. So just, set and forget forward, really. Ivan Toney, we brought him in a few weeks ago on the wild card. That's not exactly worked. But the fixtures now are making a much, much better turn. This is where Toney really needs to prove himself. Toney the Tiger, and I hope he's great. But really, he has to get more points. Like, he got to get some more penalties and hopefully win some more aerial, duels, some more headers, some more goals. Just something, Ivan, to prove that you are the FPL player that you can be. And then Harry Kane, look, it's not a great FPL option. I get that now. The West Ham game, he was poor, and I'm just hoping he's going to come back into the Kane we all know and love. But Man United are awful. That's a chance for Kane. Let's see if he can justify his price tag. And I'm not probably going to move him because there's a nice turn of fixtures for Spurs in around about game week 12, I think, because they have a nice game against Leeds and then Burnley. So you just kind of got to be patient with him, I think. But in the defence, that is done, and the forward line. But the bench is Ramsdale. And I know this is a bit of a difficult one because Foster obviously is not the better goalkeeper, but you've got the better fixture. I feel like Leicester with Vardy back fit Iheanacho doing well, and Daka recently doing well. Arsenal, they have been resurgent recently under Arteta, but I still think Leicester will score some goals there. So I'm not backing the Ramsdale clean sheet as much as without maybe someone like Broja, and obviously with Watford, we're going to hopefully get a confidence boost, I don't know, from that Everton game. We just need to tighten up the defence. And then, finally, Ranieri can get us that pizza, or sorry, not the pizza, the dinner, the full dinner at maybe it's a bit of Latiste or anyway, an Italian restaurant in Watford. It's got to be done, but let's just see if that works. And if not, Ramsdale comes in for the not playing Cycling GK. And Mbeumo, though, that is the interesting thing. So this is my second transfer of the game week. We've done Bernardo Silva there, and that was the transfer we made in the first one. But Mbeumo, we've done, I know it's benching him, but it's a long-term move, all right? I've got a lot of people in my mini leagues that own him, so I'm kind of going against their grain by benching him, if that makes sense. But the point is, he's got an injury doubt anyway, so he might not start. He might be a late fitness test, so I know he'd just come in. But like Tony's enough for this Burnley game, and then for Norwich, definitely I'll start both of them for Norwich next game week. But Mbeumo's just been hitting the post. Like, I want to see some more clinical finishing from him before I decide to start him. And look, he's a good player. That's why I brought him in. He's good for the fixtures, but not for this game week. I'm just not feeling it. But hopefully that's not a mistake. Livramento also on the bench. Now, I know a lot of people will be starting Livramento this week. Fair enough. It's a good fixture. And I did bring in Livramento for these good fixtures. And look, he got points in the harder games. So it's hard to predict with Livramento. This happens every season. Whoever's the cheap defender, the 4 million defender we all love, the next Dallas, the next Lundstrom, the next Livramento, it always happens where you play them, and then when you don't want to play them, they get points. And this is another instance where my team's strength is just so strong that with the players I've got, with the assets I've got, the fixtures, I'm backing the Foster clean sheet as well. I just think Livramento, for not this week, but maybe for the next week. And then Douglas Luiz. And the reason I've gone with Mbeumo as well, first bench over Livramento, second bench, because he got back the attacker at the end of the day, and I think there's more chance of a Brentford goal in that game against Burnley than there is of a Southampton clean sheet, if that makes sense, because surely we're going to be confident in that Everton win. I think we looked brilliant, and I hope that we can just get the crowd up, really make it a great atmosphere and a great occasion. And Douglas Luiz, obviously, is the bench fodder. So that is my team. I know that's been a long one, people, but I just wanted to really give you an insight into my team this game week. 567 overall points. It's not great. We really need to be making a lot of moves here. We need to be making gains. And I know it's a -4 hit. You're going to say, oh, you should never do a -4 when you're trying to climb up the leagues. But sometimes -4s really do work. And I've got to be honest, with the players I have before that game week, I kind of had to do it because they weren't good enough assets. So I made the change of Bernardo Silva in for Bukayo Saka. Now, I know you're going to say, oh, you should have kept him for the Arsenal-Watford game. But look, we could still win that game. I'm not even joking. What Arsenal, they're not the best defence, but you never know. No, the point is there could be better fixtures to own for that game week 11. And Saka, I don't care. Like, obviously, if I have Smith Rowe, then I'm keeping him. And then I'm playing him for the Watford game. But I didn't go with that. I went with Saka. So I'm not going to just reverse it and take another turn. I'm not going to go back to Smith Rowe. Like, that ship has sailed at the end of the day. Like, I'm not going there. So I think we can see better points with better teams. And Saka's just not been doing it for me ever since I brought him in game week 8. He has just absolutely failed. 3, 0, and 2. I'm not liking it at all. Actually, no, I didn't bring him for game week 7, but 0 and 2. So we've basically not owned him for that long. But the point is, I'm not seeing enough to think he's a good FPL asset anymore. So we've brought in Bernardo Silva, who, as I mentioned, is looking really lively. 2 contributions in the last 2 games. And I'm hoping that he can do the bits. But we've also sold Gallagher. Now, Gallagher for Mbeumo. The reason for that is I know that he's got good fixtures, and that was why I was holding him. And to be honest, I was going to bench him this game week if I had kept Gallagher and then just play him these game fixtures. But look, even if he's got those good fixtures, like we've seen it before with the good fixtures he's had. West Ham, okay, fair enough, he did well. But then Brentford, Brighton, and Leicester and Newcastle. Leicester at home as well. When you score 2 goals, you think surely there's one of them from Gallagher. And he's just not been getting the attacking contributions that he used to. And I think it was just a bit of a one game wonder from that West Ham game, and everyone got hyped about Conor Gallagher and a lot of Palace options. They've not quite delivered, and I just think, yeah, all right, good fixtures, but he doesn't seem to be even producing anything in the easy ones at the minute. So I just don't think he's that good of an option. Whereas Gallagher is more of a defensive maybe midfielder, and Wermo is out of position. He's really a forward in the game, but he's a midfielder, and look, he's getting involved. I know he hits the post a lot, but I just had to jump on the same bandwagon that everyone else is going for, because Embuemo is just, he gets involved and he has chances, and he does finish the odd one, so it makes sense as well with the fixtures for Brentford to get that link up goals and assists for each other, hopefully. That's the plan, and that's my thinking. But thanks for watching my FPL preview for Game Week 10. Hope you have enjoyed. The -4 hit, let's hope it really does work a lot better than last game week. Look, we went for a 4-4-2 last week. That wasn't intentional. We actually did start with 5 in defence, but of course, Azpilicueta didn't play. And, you know, a lot of people have been saying recently about this big at the back. Is it the way to go? And look, Livramento's, I'm a bit worried for not playing him. Not so much worried about Embuemo, because he'll probably just have another 3 crossbar hits or whatever. But I think 4-3-3 is the best way to go right now, because a lot of people are saying there's more points coming from defence, and the fixtures are looking lovely. And then other than the defence, it's basically that and Salah that are getting the points. So that's what we've gone with. I think it's quite strong. So considering I wildcarded Game Week 7 and not this game week, I've got a lot of FPL options I think you probably would have wanted if you were on a wild card. So I know there's some differentials in there with Bernardo Silva at 5.7%, but I think it's going to be worth it, hopefully, for Game Week 10. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one, but I'll quickly touch on my draft team. This is what I'm going for, though, for the upcoming game week. This is my A Kiss from a Danny Rose team. Looking at that, it's decent enough. Ward-Prowse is back, so he always scores against us. Reece James as well, very good asset. Mendy, Cresswell, they are all really good FPL options, I'm not going to lie. And Jared Bowen has been catching the eye recently. And this is this weird thing with Richarlison. He seems to always score with Wolves. I'm not sure what that's about. That's also the case for Jamie Vardy. He always seems to score against Arsenal. So that is why we've gone with, in my second draft team, that exact thing. But we've also got Aubameyang, who's a bit of a differential, to say the least. Chalobah as well has been keeping up a few clean sheets, and you never know, could pop up with a cheeky goal. We will see. My third team in FPL draft game. This is a bit of an interesting one. Obviously, we've got Bamford, just set and forget. Like, he could be useful when he's back from injury. And Ronaldo, he's not been in good form, but he's a big game player. You never know. Hudson-Odoi is a bit of an interesting one, but we'll see what happens with that. And Cornet as well. We mentioned before in the stream, but I think he's quite a decent option. And then just quickly, we'll look at the last 2 teams. We've got a little bit of McCarthy in goal, because you never know. Southampton could do better than Foster. Henry as well. He's got some attacking threat. It's just not quite happened yet for him. I think it should soon. Matty Cash. He's now Polish for some reason, and he's got a bit of attacking threat. And Theo Walcott, I remember the days of that Everton game. The last minute winner for Everton. I feel like he could do something there. Hopefully not, though. And Callum Wilson is in really good form as well, along with Firmino, seems to always score versus the Seagulls. And finally, this is Sarrs in their eyes. Ismaila Sarr, the Senegalese king. This is in the team, of course, and Semedo as well. Gabriel is doing well for me. And Redmond always scores with Watford. I don't know why. But Joshua King, it had to be done. He's, of course, in there alongside Hwang Hee-chan. But thanks for watching my FPL preview and my FPL draft preview for Game Week 10. As you can see, Hwang Hee-chan is getting a lot of views at the minute, a lot of comments. But I will hopefully get some nice comments and likes on this one. Bye-bye.